Rock, are you there?
I hear you loud and clear.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so here we are. We're into Pirates season now, man. We're getting rolling. Spring training is going on, and there's absolutely nobody and no one to talk about when it comes to swinging the bat for the Pirates anymore, huh?
I agree. I'm as optimistic about this club as any time in the last 10 years at least. And, we were wondering where the offense was going to come from a year ago, even the last 3 or 4 years. And Ben Charrington, to his credit, Bob Nutting, they went out and spent some money and made some trades and brought some legitimate bats in, three legitimate bats at least for sure so far. And that Marcell Ozuna, Ryan O'Hearn, and Brandon Lau.
Yeah.
Established veterans that have hit the ball in the ballpark. They're pros at the plate. They can drive in runs. It's a totally different lineup than we've seen at any point in the last 10 years.
I think the fascinating thing about it is those three guys you just mentioned, any other year, they're the big, big, big story of spring training. This year, they have to take a back seat because you've got Connor Griffin slugging away from the shortstop position. And the big question is Connor Griffin a part of this team when they break camp?
I think I'm one of the minority that thinks, I want to see him progress through AAA. He's a super talented guy. He's a big kid. He has all the tools necessary to be a very good Major League Baseball player. I just like to err on the side of caution. He's not even had 100 at bats above A ball. That's a big jump. That's a big jump going from, a month of Double A ball to the major leagues. I think me personally would rather see him start the season in Triple A. I think Triple A pitching is the best in April because there aren't many injuries and, some guys that didn't make the team, in spring training are down there and there's a lot of good talent in Triple A, and I just want to see how he handles it. He's probably playing in the cold for the first time, and he's going to face the stiffest competition of his career in April, no matter where he is. But I also think the competition is going to be strong in AAA, and I just want to see how he handle the conditions, the experience. And if he continues to hit the way he did last year, and he's hitting over 300, and he's hitting the ball at the ballpark, well, you don't have to waste time to bring him up. I just don't like the idea of being thrown into that fire, even as talented as he is, to start facing major league pitching at such a young age with such little experience. And if you struggle, I think he's strong enough to deal with any kind of struggles, and he will struggle like everybody else does. But I like the historical progression that you see, no matter how talented you are. I just rather see him face the AAA pitching, see how he does there. If he struggles a little bit, then you maybe leave him down there a little bit longer until he starts swinging it the way he's capable of. It might be the end of April, it might be the end of May, who knows? But I just think that's a big jump going, basically from a month of Double A to the big leagues.
Yeah, the bat's going to play eventually. It's just when is the perfect time for that to happen? And the Pirates have to make that decision, and I know it's a really tough one. They've got other decisions to make, though, with this team. Does Justinson Garcia, is he the hitter that he is showing himself to be so far in spring training? He had another home run yesterday, and he's knocking on the door, too.
Yeah, he's another big-time prospect that has big-time power, but he's another young guy. We talk about Connor Griffin at 19. Garcia's, I think, 23, so 4 years older. I just don't see how they can get him consistent at bats. Once they sign Marcell Ozuna as the DH, that puts Cruz in center, Reynolds in left, and O'Hearn in right. And, if you're 23 years old, you want that guy playing every day. And I just don't think that he could play every day at the major league level. Doesn't mean he won't soon or eventually. But it makes sense to put him at AAA and let him continue to develop and see pitching on a daily basis. And, if something happens where somebody's not producing or somebody gets hurt, he's certainly an option to come up at the big league level. But for me, I would say he's a long shot to make the club just because he needs to play, and I just don't see him getting enough at bats. But yeah, that was a nice trade they made there too, because he has a lot of promise, a lot of power, and he seems capable. I mean, he's not fazed by the spring training, coming to a new organization. I think he's handled himself well. He's shown that he can hit, and those are all good things. And so that adds to the depth. I guess it'd be a different conversation if they didn't sign Marcell Ozuna and O'Hearn was a DH, and now you'd have a spot open in the outfield. But as we sit here today, there's just not enough playing time for him, in my opinion, to make this team.
It's fascinating, isn't it, to watch all of these bats come in and to see how and where this is all going to fit together in the end. That left side of the Pirates infield, Triolo, and who's the shortstop if it's not Connor Griffin? Is it Nicky G? Is Jared Triolo going to slide over from there and put Nicky G at third, which I think would be a stretch because Nicky hasn't played a lot over there. But, just to consider the number of options they have. Jake Mangum is a story. O'Hearn, Lau, all of these guys. It's a puzzle to put together. It
sure is. And, all the guys you've just mentioned, Gonzalez, you expect to make the team, and Triolo makes the team. As it sits here today, who plays third and who plays short, that remains to be seen. I think they both played some shortstop. And of course, Triolo's played a lot of third, more so than Nick Gonzalez. But they're both capable. As it sits here right now, if we don't take Connor Griffin north with the team on opening day, it'll be I don't know if it'll be Triolo at short. For whatever reason, I feel it'll be Triolo at short and Gonzalez at third. But vice versa, they're both guys that have been around and have had success. They've also had struggles. But I think you look at Triolo, his second half last year was very impressive. I think he's going to be playing regularly. Nick Gonzalez, offensively, first-round pick. There's more in there than what we've seen with the bat. He handles himself fine, but there's some more power in there I think he can tap into. But right now, when we look at those two guys in this lineup, this new lineup, I mean, if they're in the lineup, they're hitting 7th and 8th or 7th, 8th or 9th. And, and that goes to tell you how much stronger this lineup is. Nick Gonzalez was sitting in the top of the order a bunch and sometimes in the middle of the order, and now he'll be at the bottom of the order. So that goes to show you, how much better this team has gotten offensively. But as it stands now, I would guess that that's our left side of the infield. Although I guess it wouldn't shock me if they bring Connor Griffin north, and they're both capable guys. They're both very talented guys that they have a lot of years in the big leagues ahead of them, and I don't worry too much about them offensively or defensively. And again, it is amazing though, what we're talking about. The guys that were shoo-ins to play regularly. There's some question marks going into this year just because of the talent they brought in. Yeah,
it really is amazing. And does Nick York mix into this in some way or another as the utility infielder? Because for the Pirates, utility infielders, they get a lot of play. They really get in. We're going to get into all kinds of conversations with John Wehner this week. John, I want to focus right at this moment, though, on the catching situation for the Pirates, because they've got a lot of questions and answers to be provided there, too. You've got 4 guys that are MLB capable, and somehow you have to narrow it down to 2 between those 4 guys.
Yeah, and I think you almost have to go with the experience. I know Henry Davis has had such a hard time offensively, but they love him behind the plate. He's done such a good job behind the plate. He caught just about every one of Skeen's starts last year, and Mitch Keller starts. I think Bubba Chandler when he was in the rotation, and those are your top 3 guys. And I think those 3 pitchers are most comfortable throwing to Henry Davis. So it would be a shock if Henry Davis didn't make this club just because of the way he works with those guys. And him and Skeens especially have such a strong relationship. And I think Skeens is comfortable. When you have the Cy Young Award winner comfortable with a certain catcher, he's probably going to be your catcher. Joey Bart's been around and had a really good offensive year 2 years ago, and not so bad last year. Not as much power, but if I had to say it, those 2 guys will be the catchers come opening day. How long that stays that way, it'll be interesting to see. I can't see, like, again, because of Skeens and Keller, Davis going anywhere. There's been some rumors about maybe Bart getting traded, or, if something like that happens, then, is it Endy Rodriguez or Flores? Flores more of a, doesn't have the experience as Endy, but Endy's had the injury history. And so we don't know, if he's ready to just jump in there and face Major League pitching regularly, missing pretty much all of the last couple of years. So, but that's good to have that depth, because that catching position, it's very rare to not, need at least three guys at some point, because they're always getting banged up. So, if I had to guess, it's going to be Davis and Bart to start the year, if healthy, and then Endy and Rafael Flores are certainly two capable guys that will fit right in if needed.
And see, that's where I'm thinking that there will be a trade, and I think Joey Bart is the guy. But those are the decisions Ben Cherington has to make, and people are really easy. They can easily say, trade this guy, trade that guy, but you got to find a trading partner, and you have to find something you like in return. So all of that plays into it as well as spring training comes along. It is so much fun watching and listening to the Pirates this year, because everywhere you turn your head, there's a really great story. So we're looking forward to this whole week with you, John. Thanks so much for spending some time with us today.
Always a pleasure. I look forward to this time of year, get to talk to all the folks and around Western PA, and always a pleasure talking to you, Todd. And so looking forward to Wednesday and Friday as well.
He's John Wehner. Thanks, John. Have a great day.
Thanks, you too.
There's John Wehner and the Pittsburgh Pirates. We got him on the air today, as a matter of fact. The Buccos, and I believe it's Tampa Bay. It's Indiana in the morning. And it's WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, WCCSradio.com. Our Pirate Broadcaster Conversations brought to you by A&A Construction.